It's a beautiful time of year, it's spring, it's time to get out and do your rack stacker food plots. Now, what kind of food plot would you put out the 1st of April? Is it warm enough to grow? What kind of equipment do you need? Should you have an existing plot before doing it? All these questions are going to get answered on today's video. First, I'd like to talk to you about the importance of getting it out during a frost seeding with Amplified, because Amplified is a clover blend with alfalfa that's going to be a perennial-based forage that you can provide for your wildlife, and it can be in a small pocket or it could be over an acre with the food plots. Let's talk about equipment first. What I like to do is in the spring of the year, as the ground is freezing and thawing, that's the best time to put your Amplified out. Do you need a lot of equipment? Not necessarily. I would overseed this right now, and a heavy rain will put that into the ground. However, if you do have a drag or some sort of a bed spring or even a chain link fence with a weight on it, just to scar the ground. And all you're going to do is get rid of that thatchy material that's on top of the ground so that the seed has a spot to sit. And that's all that's needed. So I'm going to demonstrate that right now and show you exactly how to get it done. You don't have to worry about hurting the plants that are already growing there. All you're going to do is disturb the soil slightly so that when you broadcast your seed, you've got good seed to soil contact. When the first rains come, it'll help germinate it, set that seed into place, and you can go one step further by rolling it into the ground if you've got a roller as well. Amplified was designed specifically for the early season of the spring to frost seed into the ground for an existing food plot. I've got a plot planted in behind me here. It's very rich in perennial clovers. However, you're going to have some kill off from the winter. Now, as you can tell, it's pretty well packed down, and that's mostly because we've been driving our four-wheeler on it, and through the winter time, the kids were driving the snow machine, so eventually it gets packed ice, and of course, you end up getting some kill off because of that. I recommend reading the packaging for seeding rates or going to rackstacker.ca for more details. Based on the size of the area that you'll be planting, you're going to want to follow about a 3 pound to the acre overseed. You'll see these little clovers are starting to poke through the ground. It's perfect timing to put the seed in the ground. How to properly calibrate your seeder so that this tiny little seed doesn't get overseeded in a bad way. So now that I got this all roughed up, it's starting to look really good because it broke all that thatchy material up. It's going to give lots of spots for this seed to sit. It's very important to make sure that you know how to calibrate your broadcast spreader. Amplified is a certified seed by the Government of Canada, which guarantees a couple of things. One, it makes sure that you're going to get 95% germination rate, so as soon as the temperature hits 60 degrees, it's going to start to grow. 95% of this bag is guaranteed by the government, not only for my use, but for yours as well, to ensure that you're going to get a good quality growth. Now, because Amplified has got 7 different varieties of clover and alfalfa in it, it's a very, very tiny seed. If you have your seed gate, which is this little orange thing inside the seed broadcaster, you got to make sure that you have it open very, very small. If you open it up too big, you'll either run out of seed or apply it too thick, and therefore those seeds that you're putting down is going to compete with themselves. Big no-no. You don't want it that big. This is the size of hole that you want for broadcasting Amplified, just so that the seed starts to fall through. When you're broadcasting, from the center portion of this, it's going to broadcast about 3 to 4 feet on each side, so call it 7 feet. If you need a small path, if it's a walk and toss trail that you're overseeding from last year and it's a four-wheeler trail that might be 10 feet, just face your broadcast spreader down a little lower. I'm going to make 3 passes, 1 on each side, and then of course 1 right through the middle, and that should give me some good coverage. Now that I've got all my seed spread, I'm going to show you a couple of close-ups of what the seed looks like on the ground. Because the soil is fully exposed and because it's still very cold out, it's going to freeze tonight. It's going to take that seed into the ground and stay dormant until it gets to about 60 degrees, which may be early mid-May. But when it starts to germinate, you got to realize that perennials take anywhere between 60 and 90 days in order for it to develop a strong root system. So it only comes out of the ground about a ½ an inch and sits there while growing a root system. Once it actually gets that root system established, you're going to see midsummer, and it's going to start to really take off July and August because of that heat and moisture that you're going to get. It's going to look absolutely gorgeous. However, there is some maintenance that needs to be done as well. After a few months of growing in the summertime, you'll find that the clover will go to flower. This is about the time you want to consider mowing, because as you can see in this image, there's lots of weed seeds coming up in the clover plot. In order to combat the weeds, it's important to mow the plot down to 6 inches. By mowing the plot back, it'll help stimulate new growth in the clover and keep those weeds at bay. It certainly makes the plot last longer as well by maintaining the crop. You do this every 4 to 6 weeks, and the last time you want to mow is Labor Day weekend in September. This will allow enough time to grow back just before the deer season opens. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out rackstacker.ca.